Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business 411. I'm your host, Elizabeth, and today's guest is Mr. Tyrone Wilson. Tyrone is the founder, president, and CEO of iCreate Limited. Now, iCreate Limited is a creative institute that provides skills training for the development of creatives in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. Now, the company is currently listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange Junior Market and is making strides each year to creating and offering transformative solutions for its clients. So, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hi, Tyrone. How are you? Introduce yourself, please, to our audience.
I am Tyrone Wilson, founder and president of iCreate Limited.
Okay. So you said it yourself, you're the founder, the president, and the CEO of iCreate Limited. So what is iCreate all about?
So iCreate was started with the fundamental vision of growing and developing our creative economy. We believe that the creative economy can play a significant role in economic development, not just for Jamaica, but for the Caribbean region. And we see that there's a big gap, a huge gap in terms of developing the skill sets for the future to be able to grow the creative economy. So through iCreate, we've been focusing on developing digital and creative training, and those are focused around short courses that we believe can upskill and reskill individuals, at a very fast pace in a short time, to give them the opportunity to take advantage of what the world has to offer.
Okay. All right. I like how that sounds.
Thank
So you said, I believe that the company was founded in 2017.
Yes. So we started in 2017, really as a market test, right? The idea
Mm,
of iCreate has been around, to be honest, from as far as 2012, when we started an internship program under the parent company, eMedia Interactive Group. And this internship program was really around, um, you know, bringing in individuals out of college in the company. We were on a growth path in building out digital media, a digital media company, and we saw the need for young talents who we believe are digital natives and so forth. And we wanted to learn from them and wanted them to learn from us. In bringing them in, we realized that we had to be doing a lot of the training ourselves. These are individuals already in degree programs and so forth. So the idea came to mind, why not start our own school? And that intern
right.
program, moved into several research and tours overseas to check out other colleges such as Full Sail and SCAD University to see what they were doing. And then, a few years later, after successfully pitching to investors and so forth, we started the test product in 2017, which, the support and the response was overwhelmingly positive. So we decided to go further into, building out iCreate aggressively as a creative training institute.
Right. I noticed that you've been saying we a lot. So did you do this with someone else or you were doing it on your own?
Well, definitely not on my own, but
Okay.
my entire um, kind of outlook, is about partnership. And even sometimes when it's you alone in the room, there are still some other individual even outside of the room and so forth that is pushing the vision. But it definitely didn't start with me alone. I was the one who came up with the school idea itself. But
Mm.
I've since, gained the support and of several individuals, even as early as 2012 when one of my board members at the time, Tanya Miller, who at the time she was the head of marketing at Sagicor Group Jamaica, um, one of our largest investment, well, financial groups. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she was on the board of iCreate. She believed in it, and she was the one who toured with me at Full Sail and helped with the early strategies. as it relates to iCreate. So, and then, of course, my parents, came on board with a
Yeah.
small investment and so forth. And we gradually grew into what it is today, but definitely a team effort all around.
Right, right. Of course. I mean, people like to say you do it all on your own, but really, sometimes it takes a village
Yep,
to really help you out.
I agree totally.
Right. So you said you started off with kind of like a test market. What did that process look like? If for people who really don't know what that would be or what that entails, can you expand a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So before we went in and registered limited liability company and all that legal framework and so forth, we started out as a just a unit under e-media, and that was one of the first characteristic of it being just a test. We weren't sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was positive that there was a need for iCreate, but what we started with was a few computers, maybe 10, some camera equipment and so forth, and 5 courses. The 5 courses are courses we believe that the market needed at that time. Advertising, which of course the advertising agency market and content and digital marketing market was growing a lot with the agencies. So we designed that course to help advertising executives to learn new skills and certify themselves. We um, introduce animation, 2D animation, content marketing, digital video production, and one course that we're very proud of because iCreate was a pioneer, or maybe still is in the space, which is project management for creatives. We designed that program. So, we use those 5 and we roll them out. We advertise it, and we got all programs got the requisite amount that we expected to start with, and we closely monitored those classes. So I was in those classes helping with the projects, what the projects were, to ensure there was a practicality. There were trainers who, some of them were professionals in the field, but that not
Mm-hmm.
delivered in a classroom before. So we had to work closely with them. We learned from them also as professionals. They learn from us, in addition how to deliver the style that we need. And through that, we quickly started to establish an iCreate kind of signature. We deliver these programs, and we pretty much spent the year focused on those 5 courses, and about half year we got a license from the Digital Marketing Institute to do digital training, globally accredited digital training, and that opened up a kind of corporate market for us also, but a more relevant industry certification within the digital field. So that year was just about developing team members, developing an iCreate signature and style, developing the content, and doing a lot more studies, with the creatives who came on board as in class and so forth, understanding the impact that we've made on them during their time, and try to measure real success. Did these people move, develop new skills? Did they get new jobs? Did they roll out as entrepreneurs? Do they have a greater appreciation for the creative economy and what it has to offer? And
Right.
all of those pretty much helped us to pretty much define a product, you know,
Yeah.
and that's when we saw that this thing can really grow significantly. So we decided to move into doing an IPO for the company. We made that decision in 2018 and listed in February 2019.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Um, so I want to circle back to what you said about the trainers. So how did you find these people to teach these classes? Did you know them beforehand, or were you just reaching out in your network to try and find people to come on? or were you the ones training?
Well, I didn't train specifically. Um, the trainers were individuals, some who we had a relationship with in other areas through the agency prior to iCreate. Um, a few others pretty much saw the call for trainers and applied. And
Okay.
we use that, getting those individuals. We pretty much work with them closely. So we develop the curriculum. I create everything, and we work with the trainers also to customize the content and set it to their style of delivery. The truth is, we're 65% practical. So with that, you know, it was easy once we have the resource, the equipment, the software, and so forth, and that enabled the the trainers to comfortably ease into delivering for iCreate. So, we had some guys who believed in us pretty early as trainers. Some who are no longer with us, but continue to support us on our mission, and eventually bringing new trainers to, and just kind of widen the pool as we continue to grow as an institute.
Right, right. So I know probably now everything is online, so that would be the scope of it. But before, coronavirus and everything, were you offering the courses both online and in person, or was it just solely online?
Yeah, so prior to the COVID-19, we were predominantly physical, right? Mostly because we were built on the premise of hands-on practical training,
Mm-hmm.
right? So based on that, we tried to encourage a face-to-face kind of delivery, paired with online also, in that we're using Google Classroom, Google for Education, with onboarding students and so forth, and having the content hosted on the platform. And then, that's how we would deliver. Subsequent to the pandemic, we started to pivot as an organization. We were able to do that quickly because digital was always something that we had in our plans as we expanded throughout the Caribbean. So the minute the pandemic came, it pretty much just accelerated the need to move to a more digital environment. So Q2, April, May, June of 2020, this year, we were predominantly an online training led kind of institution. And post COVID, we're hoping to be more online, but still maintain a practical kind of setting, whether we do that through the digital means or in person and so forth. But that's how we're structured now. I mean, things are changing so fast. It's really unpredictable now, the type of environment we're operating in. But
Mm-hmm.
iCreate is built on being adaptable, is built on ensuring that we are positioning not just the institution, but the people we train for the future. So we have a type of environment and excellent team members who are ready and prepared to ensure that we pivot as quickly as we need to, as the world continues to go through this global virus, and which is one of the big impact that we realize is digital. It's pushing a lot more people to become digital citizens and so forth. So we're prepared to take on what comes tomorrow.
Right, exactly. So you also mentioned that in 2018 you did the whole IPO. So for people who don't know what IPO is and what that means, can you explain a little bit about that and how you were able to do it? I think you said, yeah, 2018. So that's 1 year after iCreate really just started becoming official.
Yes, yes. So the growth of iCreate, was a very fast one, to be honest. And when I say growth, not necessarily from a financial sense alone, or from a financial sense, but the growth of iCreate as a brand. We started with the test product in 2017, and just 1 year later, we're planning an IPO, right? Less than a year because we started approaching investment banks around the end of 2017. Um, an IPO, of course, an initial public offering where you offer a portion of your company to the public to invest in, um, whether ordinary shares, which is ownership, or preference share capital, which is quasi debt and equity. But we offered up a good portion of iCreate to the public to raise approximately 70 million Jamaican dollars to expand the institute and so forth. And it has been a sort of roller coaster that you would expect for a publicly listed company, which is also a startup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most companies that list in Jamaica are companies that have an already established track record of growth and financial stability and team and governance and so forth. Privately, they've gone through their ups and downs and so forth, and then they list a company. iCreate, on the other hand, did the opposite, where we listed pretty much as a startup and went through a lot of our changes in the public space. 2019 was our first year of, as a publicly listed company, and financially, in terms of the growth and so forth, while we experienced good revenue growth, the company from a profit perspective, was challenging. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we made a huge loss, which is attributable to mostly, one, slower growth than expected in revenues, um, and higher costs as a publicly listed company, bringing in a larger team, stronger finance support, expansion in terms of our locations. All of these things will come before you start to really show growth in revenue. So 2019 was a tough year for us, and the unfortunate part of it is that that was played out publicly, obviously, because you're listed on the stock exchange, so your business is everybody's business. But we're still pretty proud of what we did in 2019. We have a young team. Everybody was under the age of 35, and creatives, people who took a bet on, and to see the team at the time tried their best, building out under public scrutiny and negativity and so forth, kept focused, kept their heads down, and do what is necessary. It's just an amazing thing, to be their CEO and to lead the growth that I create, even amongst that harsh public scrutiny. But very proud of the team and how they've held out and so forth. And moving now into this year, 2020, which was supposed to be a well better year in terms of profits, but then came
Yeah.
the global pandemic. So iCreate, at this time, we're just ensuring a certain level of leadership that is necessary to take us to the pandemic and beyond.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what was something that you learned, or one of the biggest lessons you learned about leadership during 2019, when you had this team who was going through the public scrutiny, like you said, with the company. What was something that you learned about leadership during that time, or learned about yourself as a leader, that really came out during that time?
Well, I think to say, I've looked back on 2019 a lot, and to say I was prepared or fully prepared to be a CEO of a publicly listed company would be lying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it accelerated my um, growth, mental fortitude, at a much faster pace than if I was a privately listed company. We went through a lot of changes from the board level and also the management level during that time. And I think what I learned and what I would say to any young persons who are looking to go this route is to one, do not hesitate to be bold. Um, you don't need to be apologetic for being bold and ambitious. And a company, right, is about the long-term vision and
Mm.
executing on that vision, right? Execution will come quarter by quarter, but the full result will not be within 1 quarter, right? So the most important thing that I've learned is that when you're building a business that is looking to make a future impact, that is something that is game changing in terms of building an entire economic business model around short courses and short programs, is to be more focused on the why, the reason you went into this in the first place. Because sometimes the short term losses and the short term disappointments might pretty much get in the way of what you plan to do for your business and for yourself. And it's something that you need to be focused on as as an entity. So my thing is that I'm pretty focused, committed to what we're doing, and we'll pretty much go through the rounds, day by day, and keep focus on what we want to achieve 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Right. So I've been asking this question because I know a lot of entrepreneurs talk about it being, there's no set hours. It's not a 9 to 5, especially if you're the founder. So I'm curious to know how has your entrepreneurship endeavors affected your personal life? Has it been in a positive way, a negative way, or it's kind of in between? If you can share a little bit more.
How I kind of view this is all positive, right? Sometimes a journey comes with various ups and downs, um, but it's all about a journey that you've decided to go
Mm-hmm.
on, and that to me, when you commit to something like that, is overall a positive thing. To commit and work through and work through the ups and downs. My entrepreneurial life, professional journey did not impact um, my personal life negatively, in the sense that I was prepared to face the sacrifices that I'm making today. As an entrepreneur, most people would see entrepreneurship and think you start a business, you're going to be rich overnight, and you're gonna enjoy this and enjoy that, in a short space of time. You have those success stories, and 9 out of 10 times you don't. I was
Mm-hmm.
lucky to have a supportive, family. My mom, my father, my parents, my brother, very supportive of me early, and my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, is extremely supportive, who have helped in the business also when needed. And when you have that kind of support system personally, it makes the professional journey even more exciting, and makes it more comfortable as a an entrepreneur. So that is very important. When you listen to the stories of individuals who have built big brands that exist today in Jamaica. In 2012, for Jamaica 50, we eMedia, which is a parent company of iCreate, did an entrepreneurship documentary called 50 Years of Entrepreneurship. And that was, to me, sitting and listening to some of these pioneers, the Honorable R. Danny Williams, who founded Life for Jamaica, now Sagicor, Dennis Layla, who founded ICAI, Robert Levy, Jamaica Broilers Group, um, Charles Johnston, Jamaica Producers Group, listening and sitting to a lot of these guys and so forth. Their success was not overnight. They had the support of so many people, so many friends, so many family members, so many investors. And it took years, when you look back on their business at 50 years later and so forth, you see that it doesn't, Rome wasn't built in one day. So I was
Yeah,
thankful to have that kind of support system. It makes the journey much easier.
of course. So, aside from, the persons in your life who were able to give you the support and the encouragement that you needed, what other resources did you look to for help to grow as a business leader and a business owner?
Well, we had some excellent team members over the years, right? People who the type of environment that was created in our companies was one of pushing you to the limit, was one of recognizing and appreciating your potential and pushing you to understand and recognize that yes, you do have that potential. So we were able to find some individuals who were pretty excited about developing their careers, and we were pretty much excited about helping them to develop their careers, and in return developing the companies that we have. So you know without them, you know, as you know, kind of employment relationships not always on the positive side. Some you have rocky relationships and you have really good relationships. But I think at the core of it, we've been able to build on the talent of a lot of people, and they themselves were able to build their careers and by extension help to build the businesses that we serve, that we have today. And of course, there were some very generous senior uh, Jamaicans at the time for me who came on board and believed in what I was trying to achieve and gave their time and resource without cost. So I'm talking about, we were able to have Richard Biles as a chairperson, a chairman for eMedia, and help to introduce iCreate to the market. Richard Biles is one of the most successful corporate execs in Jamaica. He's now the governor for Central Bank, Bank of Jamaica. And we've had people like Sandra Glasgow, who chaired iCreate for a short time and chaired eMedia, subsequent to Richard Biles. And, we've had so many people, some who didn't serve on the board, like Christopher Williams and so forth, CEO approven, but invested in me very early. And that is what Jamaica is all should be about, getting involved selflessly, um, helping young people to, you know, get a better start than you did, right? That is the most important thing. And for iCreate and eMedia and
Right.
what we do, we've been able to get that support and so forth. And we are giving back. So now I'm in a position where people look up to me, younger entrepreneurs, younger creatives, I want to be like Tyrone. I want to have a publicly listed company. I want to start my own company. I want to be a pioneer in this. I want to do that and so forth. And my I try to be accommodating and welcoming. Also, spend a lot of my Saturdays sitting with younger people, mentoring them, giving them support, opening doors, and so forth. And it's something I'm very proud of. I'm very thankful for the assistance we've gotten in the past, and I'm very proud of the fact that I'm able to give back and support people looking up to me and coming, trying to grow in their own.
Right. So it's all about investing in others and then also learning from them as well,
Definitely.
just like a cycle.
Yes.
Okay. So love the work that you're doing with iCreate. It sounds very good and inspiring.
I feel it.
And I love that you're invested in the young people.
Appreciate it.
I know when nobody's sure what's gonna happen now, but we're still pushing on.
Yes.
So if I'm somebody who is interested in, being more creative and honing my skills and honing my talent, and I learn about iCreate, and I want to check out some of your resources and the courses that you have available, how do I find you? How do I find that information? Where do I go?
Okay, so very straightforward. Our website, icreateedu.com. You'll find everything we do there, information about the company and so forth, and of course our social media pages. So like our Instagram, iCreateEDU, or Twitter, iCreateEDU, Facebook, iCreateEDU, and LinkedIn, iCreate Institute. You'll find you'll find us. We pretty much have a presence on most digital platforms, and we have a very responsive team we will get back to you with any query about, making a next step in your digital and creative career.
Okay, fantastic. And as we wrap it up now, I wanted to share one final piece of advice that you'd recommend to any aspiring entrepreneur or somebody who may already be an entrepreneur who just needs to hear something that will help them be more successful. There's one thing that you could say finally. What would that be?
Well, one thing I always live by is a kind of tagline or phrase: "Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard." That's really my thing, and pretty much it's saying that you have to put in the work no matter how talented you are, no matter the resources you have. Um, you have to be committed. You have to put in the work, and one of those individuals that inspired me around that same belief was, of course, the late Kobe Bryant, who an athlete that I followed for many years. Who he didn't come into the NBA as a number one pick, but someone
Mhm.
who worked hard at developing his skills and committed to being the best NBA player he could be, and retired as one of the greatest to ever play the game because of his work ethics and commitment to his craft. So for me, it's all about hard work beats talent. When talent fails to work hard, it's all about commitment. It's all about putting in the work and being focused on what you're trying to achieve. So sometimes we tend to give up early, right before we hit that diamond or that carrot, and we just have to stay focused regardless of the circumstances.
Right, of course. Excellent advice. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and sharing so much about your business and the process. I wish you all the best with iCreate Institute. I can't wait to see what the company does moving forward. It was great to speak with you.
Yes, thanks so much. Appreciated. And all the best. Congrats on the podcast. And looking forward to listening.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, Elizabeth.
Okay, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you all learned a lot from Tyrone. Please make sure to check out iCreate Limited at iCreate EDU on Instagram and other social media platforms, as well as their website, icreateedu.com. I'm sure there are many different skills programs and training exercises that would be of great value to many of you. So please make sure to check that out and support iCreate. So thank you guys again so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode.